Roman Vishniac was a Russian-born photographer who came of age in Weimar, Berlin, and his work spans early engagements with modernism in Berlin through his work documenting refugees and displaced persons after the war, American Jewish immigrant life in the 40s and 50s, and his pioneering color scientific photography. He was raised in Moscow and steeped in Soviet camera culture, which was largely Jewish Soviet camera culture. On his 7th birthday, he was given 2 gifts, a microscope and a camera. And he attached the camera to the microscope and he magnified the leg of a cockroach 3 times, and that was his first photograph. So his passion for biology and zoology and magnification of scientific phenomena and his passion for photography were always interwoven from his earliest experimentations with the camera. He arrived in Berlin already an incredibly accomplished amateur photographer. He took these pictorialist inflected, stunning photographs of his new wife. She was 20, he was 23, and they arrived in Weimar, Berlin, which was this incredible, thrumming, cosmopolitan center of culture and visual experimentation. And he navigated his new adopted city of Berlin through his camera's lens. He would often stand in the doorways of buildings, even the egress of his own apartment building, and photograph street life walking by. Became very close to the zookeeper, and he was involved in zoological organizations, amateur kind of biology groups, and also camera clubs. So as he was documenting his new adopted city, he started to document the ominous rise to Nazi power in Berlin, and the tone of his work and the significance of his work shifted. His daughter Mara was 7 years old in 1933, and at that point it was illegal and quite dangerous for a Jew to take photographs, and so he used his daughter as a prop so that he could document these radical changes that were taking place on the streets, that he and his own family were being affected by. Vishniac claimed throughout his life and to his death in 1990 that his photographs were the product of a self-imposed assignment to document the faces of Jewish life in Eastern Europe. What we now know is that he was commissioned and sent on assignment. From 1935 to 1938, he traveled over 5,000 miles, documenting rural villages, major urban centers. He also took moving film footage, which we're showing here for the first time. By 1938, the institution of the Nuremberg laws, things became very difficult for every Jew living in Germany. Vishniac was sent to Krzyżanów to document the internment of Polish Jews. Those were the last photos he took for the JDC. So the same years that Dorothea Lange took Migrant Mother, Walker Evans was sent to the American South to document the crippling effects of the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression. Vishniac was sent east by the world's largest Jewish relief organization so that those images could be used to raise funds for relief. And he belongs in this incredible story tradition of 1930s social documentary photography. Shortly thereafter, he was warned by a German police officer who they'd been paying off to stay away, and he went to Western Europe. Vishniac came to America in 1940, and upon arrival, he immediately established a portrait studio. He contacted his friends and friends of friends in the Russian and German Jewish emigre communities. He photographed Chagall and Einstein and used those to advertise. And he wound up photographing integrated nightclubs, musicians, dancers, and created this really important and vibrant photo studio. He was also working to reestablish himself as a scientist. Shortly after arriving in New York, he started to make contacts in the scientific community and started to do small projects for scientists. And within 10 years, his photographs were on the cover of Life and Omni and Science, and he became one of the great pioneers of color photomicroscopy. Vishniac's photographs of Jewish life in Eastern Europe are so iconic and so widely reproduced, yet only 250 of them were published during his lifetime. And we now have access for the first time to his massive archive that includes 50,000 objects. So it spans early engagements with modernism in the 1920s to his color scientific work. We have 10,000 negatives, 10,000 color science slides, about 10,000 prints, and then 20,000 pages of personal correspondence, audio footage, moving film footage, and ephemera. So this retrospective, which is for the first time showing 60 years of Vishniac's work, and I think argues from being one of the great photographers of the 20th century, is just the tip of the iceberg. I don't see this as the final word on Vishniac. I see this actually as an opening up of the archive and inviting people to mine it.